Let me tell you something real. One of the hardest things you'll ever learn in life, one of the most powerful, most freeing, most life-changing lessons is this: you have the right to say no, and you don't owe anybody an explanation for it. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to let them down. I don't want to seem selfish. Listen to me. There is a difference between being kind and being a doormat. There is a difference between being generous and being used. There is a difference between being understanding and letting people walk all over you because you're too afraid to draw the line. No is not a bad word. No is not disrespect. No is not weakness. No is not failure. No is strength. No is protection. No is clarity. No is leadership. You have to respect yourself enough to say it. Say no to things that drain your energy. Say no to people who constantly take but never give. Say no to invitations that pull you away from your purpose. Say no to relationships that make you feel small, invisible, replaceable. Say no to obligations that leave you feeling bitter, used, and exhausted. Because every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you are saying no to yourself. And you've done that long enough, haven't you? You've bent until your back was breaking. You've smiled when your spirit was screaming. You've poured out of an empty cup, hoping someone would notice. But they never do. Let me tell you why. Because when you keep saying yes without boundaries, people don't see it as kindness. They start to expect it. They start to feel entitled to your time, your energy, your presence, even when it costs you everything. And that's not on them. That's on you. See, you teach people how to treat you. And if you never say no, if you never draw the line, if you never communicate your worth, they'll assume you have none. That's not selfish. That's truth. You weren't put on this earth to be everyone's solution, everyone's therapist, everyone's emotional sponge. You weren't created to constantly shrink yourself so others could stay comfortable. You have a life, you have a calling, you have a responsibility to yourself. And that responsibility begins with boundaries. Now, boundaries don't mean you don't love people. They mean you love yourself too. They mean you understand that you are not infinite. You are not a machine. You are human. And you need space. You need rest. You need peace. And peace starts with no. I've seen too many people burn out, not because they weren't strong, but because they kept carrying what was never theirs to hold. And sometimes you got to drop the weight by speaking the word no. No to gossip, no to drama, no to manipulation, no to fake friendships, no to overcommitting, no to self-betrayal disguised as loyalty. You don't need to justify your no, you just need to honor it. Because every no rooted in self-respect creates space for a yes rooted in self-alignment. And let me say this: there will be people who don't like it when you start saying no. They will be confused. They will push back. They might even get angry. Why? Because your boundaries are interrupting their comfort. They got used to you always saying yes. They liked the version of you who never stood up for yourself. They benefited from your silence. But you're not that version anymore. You're evolving. You're healing. You're learning to honor your time, your energy, your worth. And that's going to scare some people. But let them be scared. Let them talk. Let them walk. Because the real ones, the ones who truly care for you, they will honor your no just as much as your yes. You see, there's a power that comes with learning to say no. A calm power, a quiet confidence. It's not loud. It doesn't need to shout. It just is. Because when you start saying no from a place of self-respect, You stop apologizing for existing. You stop feeling guilty for putting yourself first. You stop carrying guilt for taking care of your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Let me be real with you. You've got one life. One. You don't get to rewind it. You don't get to pause it. You don't get to outsource it. So why keep spending it on people and situations that leave you empty? I'm not saying don't serve. I'm not saying don't help others. But you cannot help anyone if you're constantly abandoning yourself. No is a form of service because it tells the truth. No says, I'm not available for things that violate my values. No says, I am protecting what matters most. No says, I'm no longer tolerating what my peace can't afford. And here's the beautiful thing. Every time you say no to what's wrong, you make space to say yes to what's right. Yes to the people who respect your time. Yes to the opportunities that align with your vision. Yes to the version of you that doesn't play small. Yes to peace. Yes to purpose. Yes to progress. But you'll never get there if you keep letting everyone into your space. Some folks don't deserve access to you. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Some people don't deserve access to your time, your heart, your energy, or your life. Not because they're bad people, but because they're not aligned with where you're going. And your future deserves a more disciplined you, a more decisive you, a more self-respecting you. You can't grow into that version of yourself if you're constantly stuck in obligations you never wanted in the first place. And that's the trap. Most people don't realize they're stuck not because of big failures, but because of 1,000 little yeses they never meant to say. Yes to projects they hated. Yes to events they didn't want to attend. Yes to people who never showed up for them. Yes to the fear of being disliked. Yes to the guilt of disappointing others. And what did it cost? Their time, their health, their dreams, their identity. So let me ask you something personal. How many times have you betrayed yourself just to keep someone else comfortable? How many times have you said yes with your mouth while your soul screamed no? It's time to stop. It's time to stop negotiating your boundaries. It's time to stop shrinking your needs. It's time to stop watering yourself down to fit inside relationships, careers, and conversations you've already outgrown. You weren't built for everyone's comfort. You were built for your own truth. And truth requires boundaries. Truth requires strength. Truth requires that word most people are afraid to say. Now let's be honest. Saying no won't always feel good at first. Sometimes it'll sting. Sometimes it'll be lonely. Sometimes you'll question yourself, asking, did I do the right thing? But trust me, in the long run, you'll be glad you did. Because peace isn't always immediate, but it's always worth it. And every no you say today becomes a yes to peace tomorrow. Let's get one thing straight. Saying no is not a rejection of others. It's a declaration of your priorities. And when you start living from a place of purpose, you no longer say yes just to be liked. You say yes because it aligns, because it fits, because it supports the mission you're here to fulfill. And if it doesn't, you say no without guilt. Now hear me. There's a version of you waiting to be born, but it's suffocating under the weight of your people-pleasing. That version of you is bold. That version of you is focused. That version of you doesn't waste time trying to make everyone happy. Because they finally realize something that changed everything. You can't please everyone, and you don't need to. The moment you let go of that illusion is the moment you start living in truth. Some people will misunderstand your number. Some will call you cold. Some will say, you've changed. But you know what? That's the point. You were supposed to change. You were supposed to grow. You were supposed to outgrow the patterns that kept you small. That's not betrayal. That's evolution. You're not responsible for how others feel about your boundaries. You are responsible for enforcing them with consistency and calm. And let me tell you something else. Every time you honor your boundaries, you get stronger. You start to walk taller. You speak with more conviction. You move differently. Why? Because you're finally living in alignment. And alignment feels like peace. It feels like sleeping well at night because you didn't betray yourself for temporary comfort. It feels like walking into a room knowing you didn't water yourself down just to be accepted. That's freedom. That's real confidence. That's the power of no. Let me be clear. You're not here to explain your every decision. You're not here to justify why you need rest, why you didn't pick up the phone, why you declined that invite, why you turned down that deal, why you walked away. Your peace is reason enough. And the more you practice saying no, the easier it gets. At first it feels like rebellion. Eventually it becomes rhythm. Eventually it becomes second nature. And before you know it, you'll look around and realize your life is filled with only what belongs. No clutter, no drama, no chaos disguised as connection. Just clarity. Just people who respect you. Just commitments that feed you, not drain you. But it starts now. It starts with courage. The courage to say, no, I can't make it. No, I'm not available for that. No, I don't have the capacity right now. No, this no doesn't mean I don't care. It means I care enough about myself to choose what's right for me. That kind of strength, it doesn't come overnight, but it comes. And when it does, it transforms you. Let me tell you this. Peace isn't passive. Peace is intentional. It doesn't just show up and make itself comfortable. You have to clear space for it. You have to guard it. You have to defend it from every energy, every voice, every pressure that tries to invade your soul without permission. And that's what no really is. It's a gate. It's a guardrail. It's a spiritual declaration that your life is no longer open to anything that doesn't align with your purpose. You see, when you were younger, you might have said yes to fit in. You said yes because you were scared to be alone. You said yes because you didn't want to disappoint. You said yes because you thought being needed meant being loved. But now you're older. Now you've lived a little. Now you've been tired. Now you've poured out when you had nothing left. And now you know better. You've learned that love without respect is manipulation. That approval at the cost of authenticity is a trap. That acceptance built on your silence is just control wearing a smile. And now you speak up. Now you protect yourself. Now you pause before you agree. Now you ask, is this in alignment with who I'm becoming? And if the answer is no, then the answer is no. No guilt, no over-explaining, no chasing, just peace. Let me tell you something powerful. Every time you say no to something beneath your value, you are saying yes to your future. You are saying yes to energy that nourishes instead of depletes. Yes to relationships that build instead of break. Yes to work that fulfills instead of frustrates. Yes to a version of you that doesn't need to be everything for everyone, because they've finally learned to be everything for themselves. You're not being mean. You're being mature. You're not selfish. You're centered. You're not pushing people away. You're pulling yourself closer. Closer to your calling. Closer to your truth. Closer to the life that's waiting on the other side of your boundaries. But here's the thing. Not everyone will understand. And that's okay. You're not doing this for applause. You're doing this for alignment. You're doing this for sanity. You're doing this because you finally realized that saying no doesn't close every door. It opens the right ones. Now listen, this journey you're on, it's not about becoming harder. It's about becoming wiser. It's about learning that kindness doesn't mean sacrificing your sanity, that love doesn't mean giving away your identity, that support doesn't mean silence when your soul is screaming. Your no is not just a boundary, it's a mirror. It reflects how much you've grown. It shows the world that you've stopped negotiating your worth. It proves that you finally realized you are enough, even when you're not available. And isn't that the core of it all? Respecting yourself enough to say, I don't owe my energy to everyone. I'm allowed to rest. I have the right to choose who I allow into my space. I can be a good person and still say no. Because the truth is this: you don't need to explain your healing. You don't need to defend your peace. You don't need to convince people that your growth is valid. You just need to walk in it. Walk like someone who understands that boundaries don't push love away. They protect it. They guide it. They allow it to flourish without expectation or entitlement. Walk like someone who's been through enough to know that peace isn't just a want. It's a non-negotiable. And from now on, let your life reflect that. Let your schedule reflect that. Let your relationships reflect that. Let your yes carry weight, because it's no longer buried under a pile of fake, forced, people-pleasing nods. And when they ask, why are you so protective of your time now? You say, because I finally realized my time is my life, and I don't give either away lightly anymore. When they ask, why don't you answer every call, show up for every event, say yes like you used to? You say, because I love myself too much to live exhausted. And when they say, you've changed, you smile, you breathe, and you say, exactly. Because that's what self-respect looks like. That's what healing sounds like. That's what growth feels like. So the next time you feel that pressure, that tension in your gut when someone asks for more than you can give, that familiar guilt trying to creep back in, pause, breathe, and remember, you have the right to say no, and you don't need a reason to protect your peace. You've given enough, you've explained enough, you've sacrificed enough. Now it's your turn to build, your turn to heal, your turn to thrive. So respect yourself enough to say no, and let the rest fall where it may. Because when you choose peace over pressure, alignment over approval, wholeness over hustle, you don't just say no to them, you say yes to you. If you made it this far, drop 100 in the comments, so I know you're part of the 1% who's serious about growth.